Okay, here I am making a wee bit of a presentation explaining the results of my survey that I gave to friends and family. So I was looking for some external data, hoping to understand how other people receive me as opposed to my internal beliefs of who I am and how I come across. This is necessary when you are trying to get your personality type because you don't want it to be, the typical horoscopy MBTI Myers-Briggs kind of stuff. Here's my contents. I'll be showing you the some lessons that I learned, and really, I don't know if I actually had theories tested and proven or not. I just had some ideas, really. So this is my advice, not necessarily very tested. It definitely proves something about being intuitive over sensing, because, really, I shouldn't be doing this yet, and I really shouldn't have been trying to type myself from these results as early on as I was. I've only got 8 people who actually have responded to this, and gave conclusive data, or not even conclusive. I don't. I'll have. We'll look again. We'll be looking over the. So yeah. We'll be doing the. I'll just say some stuff about my survey. Then we'll go into my overall average data collection, and I'll just completely try and debunk anything that is seeming to be conclusive. I'll just try and say, no, this data is ridiculous, and the questions as well. I'll just do a whole lot of seeing what's really possible as a real trend, and because that's important to do. Like, you got to just be we'll do a session of being skeptical of what's being seen, and then I'll show you some individual charts which have actually ended up being really interestingly conclusive, particularly my mum and my husband, and actually what I thought myself was. But yeah, on Wednesday, that's in 2 days, I'm going to have a chat with Dave Howes, and he'll also give me some input into what he thinks my type is, because I've got lots of videos he's going to watch. So, cool. My squeaky mouth. Oh dear, you can't see this. Here we go. Some lessons and just ideas, really, because I didn't get to test this very much. You can see on this side, that's my survey. It's got a blue background. Just colour psychology there, just intended to make it easier for people to stay awake. Not extravagant pictures, anything that'll drain their sensory out. Just want to keep them focused on the questions. So that's hopefully they'll stay longer. What's happened there, though, I had one cousin who had some technical glitches. When she was looking at it, she every time she answered a question, her page would scroll back to the top, which is ridiculous. I don't understand how that worked. But obviously it's a matter of her device not being compatible. I used Google Forms with that. I had one sister who looked at some of the questions, realised it was a very, very long survey, and bailed out. And I don't know how many other people actually looked at the survey and decided not to do it. Making it long obviously was annoying. Like, I knew that from the beginning that it would be annoying. But I just had to put it that way anyway, because I needed so many, you need to get those cross checks. If they agree on one thing, you've got to ask them, is it the opposite on, is it still true for the opposite? That word picture didn't really come across right then. You've got to ask multiple you got to ask the same question multiple times with different words. This helps them to understand what the question actually is asking or what you're trying to get at. But also, if you're asking the same question multiple times, if they can consistently answer yes for the same question when previously they said yes, then that's a good sign. If they say yes and then no, which I've got a bit of, but also because of it, I'll show you anyway in my questions and results. Sometimes the inconsistency is because of your type being so uneasy to type, and sometimes the inconsistency you just really want to be aware that sometimes when people are doing your survey for you, it's just going to be them not really paying attention and giving very good data. So that's why you've also got to ask the same questions, not with just different words, but with reversing the things. So I'll show you what I've done there. Reversing the question, and that'll catch inconsistency as well. Any issues that, some issues that may come is when they haven't seen you do everything and they're still not skipping questions. So I had somebody from my work, somebody who knows me at work, and at work I am usually in a play state because I have to be extroverted. I have to be involved with the customers and having conversations, getting ping back from them constantly on, am I doing things right for you? And so my coworker is constantly seeing me in that state, but she doesn't know what I'm like in other times, but she she was very quite helpful and gave me a lot of data that she doesn't have any authority to give. So she got a bit overexcited, I suppose. When using the Google Forms, what you can do though is you can just you can just answer again the same survey with their answers and leave out the ones that you don't see them as having consistent, because sometimes you do want to include half of their data or some of their data into your whole pool of data, but not all of it, because it'll skew the averages. And so yeah, and the thing is as well, I figured out some better ways to word some questions when half the submissions had already come through, or even my mum was the last one who I got answers from, and she's the only one who's actually answered a couple questions because they were added in really late. But that's all. This is just me having a experience at something, giving it a go, and if anybody wants a copy of the questions that I've used, I can definitely sort you out with that. So let's go over now and look at my questions and the data. We'll just go with, we'll use the summary. And dang it, I wanted to hide some stuff there because my husband was very immature when he answered. How well does he know me? Anyway, I started with some human needs questions. Basically just made the entire survey as just the checklist as much as I can. I just stuck in a few words, so describe myself. Well, this was surprising. 6 people out of 8 said that I'm caring, which doesn't make sense to me because I usually see myself as the selfish asshole. And introverted, 6 people said introverted, when extroverted is also here somewhere. My goodness, I stuck it up the other. Only 1 person thought extroverted. So yeah, basically these are the most sticking out ones: introverted, unsettled, and caring. That's just general information. So you'll see these 2 questions here are about observer or decider. That anecdotal, do they have issues with things or people? So I've got 75% saying that I complain more about people, this person, that person, in different groups of people. And I've got 62% saying that I'm more often scared of something that might happen. So these two don't really fit together as being particularly conclusive of observer or decider. I stuck in this one here and I've got 5 responses. 100% think I'm information dominant, which I knew. Like I don't even like a lot of the questions. The issue is that I've written them knowing what the answers should be, and I've definitely found it hard translating objective personality jargon into a question that people who don't understand what that's about, getting it worded for them to be able to answer. And it's just a matter of, as well, me not actually being very familiar with it. Like I've been in the class for a good part of half a year, maybe, I don't even know, a few months at least, 4 months at least, and I don't exactly understand the functions yet. I'm still on that journey of really, like, in theory, I get the theory, I get the very simplistic objective definitions, but the issue is, how does that really come out in a person, and how do they do that? Rebecca has a lot of patience with annoying people. Now these two answers here are my brother-in-law and my co-worker at work. So my brother-in-law sees how annoying my husband is. They are brothers, and he recognizes that I can apparently deal with my husband, but my husband's probably around here understanding that he himself is annoying and that I yell at him a lot. Like, you don't even know. He annoys me like a mother trucker, and I cannot ignore that. There's something there that is just, like, I obviously need to get over it, because otherwise, if I keep mulling over it, it's ruining my life. And also at work, apparently I deal with a lot of annoying people, and I can't. Apparently I don't have a lot of patience with people at work, which that doesn't make sense to me, because I don't even see that people at work are annoying. I don't see the people as being people. I see them as asking for certain things, and the issue is whether or not I can fulfill their need, or if I can provide that function that they are requesting. And if I can, I'm totally fine with it. I can do it even if it's somehow inconvenient or whatever. I don't even see it as inconvenient. I just see it as, yes, I can do that, therefore I am happy to do it, as long as I am practiced or understand how to fulfill that need. But either way, there's a lot of leaning over this side that I'm not patient with annoying people. Of course, this is again the observer decider question here, and do I have a lot of patience with a malfunctioning tool? The data is kind of inconclusive, but I can tell you that whenever something, there was a video there was a video I was going to film for my Type Me series, and it was literally me picking up my phone to show, oh no, my pizza stone broke. But the thing is, I didn't react. That's the reaction, that I was going to be like, oh, my pizza stone just broke, and I said, oh no, and I just kind of didn't have a reaction otherwise. The thing is, though, the video didn't really film, or it did film and it got lost. The processing to YouTube didn't work, and again, I was just like, oh, whatever. That's what happens. Tools they have their problems. But yeah. So we see here, my mum's the one who said connection, and before that, my human needs were really, people were seeing more on the variety security side. So it's like what I saw of that was like they're seeing the double observer, whereas there was a real lack of there being much of the connection significance one, like the significance one, there's a quarter of it now, and there's a quarter, but a lot of people still see variety. Yeah, this is now inconclusive considering my mother stuck in connection. Um, what's this one? Easily organized or struggles to be organized. So this is a question of am I, is my security need very high? It seems a little bit inconclusive, really. Able to do organize, but really just not, but also not. I don't know what those, I don't know who's got those ones in there, but it's really, it seems to be inconclusive. The data's kind of swerving on this side, that I'm more variety over, well, yes, variety or struggles with variety. A lot of people see me as being, I called it free-spirited, exploring a variety of new experiences, new things and new ideas, and struggling to do with that on this side. Kind of people just don't really see that I struggle with new ideas. This is a question of DE. Do I consider others' perspectives? And people are kind of seeing more that I don't. But then when I ask, do I fail to consider other perspectives? Am I not wanting their opinion or truth? People are like, no, because not too much of a selfish asshole, which is weird. Like, that's not what I expect. Then on this question, it's a question of DI. Can I be sure of myself making decisions on what I like or what works for me? And there seems to be a leaning towards that. And it's the same. People seem to just be nice. People like these answers are pretty just like people seem to be avoiding giving me a negative answer, even though I said at the top like no particular answer is more desirable than another. It's still probably, I didn't really talk to everybody before I asked them to do it. I just sent the survey and asked if they could just do it honestly as much as they can. So you've got here questions all about observer and decider. So it's a bit more conclusive. It's it's hella more conclusive on being IP. So do my skills unbalanced when it comes to dealing with controlling things and letting things be, or my own identity and being involved with others? People see that I can balance control and chaos, and I can't balance identity and tribe. Again, it's pretty heavy on can't balance self and tribe, and really high on identity. Rebecca cares most about identity, but there is this thing of this is because I constantly research personality. I'm always, this is not always, but like for the last 2 years, I've been obsessed with the Enneagram and obsessed with objective personality. That's been my thing, is personality, trying to understand those concepts. And I've been wondering, is that so that I can understand myself? I think initially, yes. Initially, yes, I become attracted to a a personality system based on how it can help me understand myself. But as a learning thing afterwards, is once I become more aware of the spectrum or more aware of the whole concept, I get better at understanding other people as well, and that becomes the thing after I've learned about myself. I then use it to understand other people better, and I have been asking so many people what their types might be. Like I've been getting into, like, that's how I've been starting conversations and how I've been introducing myself with new people, is using trigger words from personality stuff and trying to work out who they are from that kind of stuff, which has been just the, it's really just the convention that I've chosen to do that with. So that this might be entirely skewed by the fact that everybody just knows me as being the personality girl at this season of my life. Like the fact that I'm so interested in my identity. So I can't necessarily trust that, even if 100% have said that I'm identity over anything else. This is just me asking if people have seen me in multiple scenarios, which gives me like a gauge of, do you have any authority on telling me, or telling a questionnaire that you can answer the following questions. So this is my temperaments, and my, so you frequently hear Rebecca sharing what your values and priorities. A lot of people hear that. A lot of people hear me sharing my values. Asking other people for their values. I just like, it's difficult when you are trying to ask people what your demon and savior functions are, because they, like, I don't know. I'm just really trying to gauge what people are seeing when they ask, when I talk to them. It's less so that people hear me asking other people's priorities. But it's interesting here. You'll see frequently, more frequently, there's a stronger gauge. By 1 point. It's only 1 point. It's only 1 point me saying more the explaining what works well for me, what makes sense for the TI. So that people see if they see some sort of DI is really all that I can say here. And whether that's savior or demon, it's not really like the frequency of something coming up should be savior. But you never know. Like there's still people that I'm comfortable with and are familiar with having that intimate conversation with them, maybe sharing my demons with them, whatever. Frequently you hear Rebecca explaining, no. And then there's only one person's actually said that, yes, this is easy. Oh. Yeah. I really need to keep going in here. When it comes to working something out, I'll share 1 or 2 possibilities or assumptions. This is basically a question of, do all the eggs go in one basket? And there's a higher, this is very inconclusive. But when I asked my mum, she was the last person, like, there's a lot of different ways that people actually answered this. My sister and my father, they did it together. My mother, she allowed me to ask her the questions, and like I asked them in a robotic voice. There was never any me swaying that the answer should be one way or the other. But this was just in the car while we were on a road trip, so it was easy enough to do it that way. She had tried to do it, but her submission failed. That's just how it works when she lives out in the country. Her internet or her computer, I don't know, something wrong there. What are we looking at here? This is a question of NI, and this is a question of NE. So do I share very little assumptions and possibilities, or do I share very many possibilities? And people, it's not really very conclusive, not conclusive at all. Am I SI or SE? Also hardly conclusive. This entire graph is basically as if there was only a 1 point here. Like everything's so balanced you could cancel them out, and there's literally just this 1 point here. which isn't very conclusive. Frequently you hear Rebecca sharing lots of new film facts. It leans to yes for SE. So now we actually, I don't know why that whole block of questions was in the wrong place. Anyway, most of the time when Rebecca talks, she's explaining physical things that are real and in this world. She's clear and easy to understand. That's a question of am I ST? Nobody thinks I'm ST. Really, really, really low on ST. Don't have that robotic explain something that happened. People, when it comes to the SF, the salesman type, most of the time when Rebecca's talking about physical things, because they matter, she may be convincing of you of the value that something has, how well liked it should be. Really inconclusive, really limited conclusive there, but very strong lean for the NT, very strong lean for the nerd, trying to work out a invisible concept, trying to work out the abstract, trying to figure it out. And my mum's vote is over here as well, which, yeah, it means a lot that my mum's vote over there. I would vote that I'm NT. Then maybe Lost Away in the Clouds is the SF, the hippie. People kind of see that, but it's not even as strong. Like these people are actually saying no, it's not like that. But still not totally conclusive. I do have a couple of people in here that don't even know me very well, and I don't know which votes they have put in, so I don't know. But anyway, when it comes to reporter, salesman, nerd, or hippie, I'm more nerd. Two people say salesman, and that is my dad and my sister. They did this together, and then I had to repeat their submission so that there was 2 votes for the 2 people who answered that survey. And 2 people see hippie, but there's 4 people seeing nerd. And here's a please remark on Rebecca's speaking style, trying to get out a lot of information. When very excited, struggles to consistently share the main point quickly. Someone said convincing and confident. Someone said you talk like a nerd but in a good way. You get excited about stuff other people might find boring. It's cute, but you're also factual and back up what you say. I can't remember who that was. Potentially Hope, I don't know. But also my workmate says things I do are cute. She uses that language. Here's my animals. So is my blast, my teaching state, and my instructing state is that the questions are, is it a natural over here or unnatural, like easy or awkward? One person said awkward, and that's my co-worker at work. She's somebody who I am supposed to be able to instruct and explain how to do things to her, but she's seeing that I can't really do that very well, or that it, obviously, yeah, can't do it well. But a lot of other people think that me instructing is easy. The question here is my blast feminine? And the lean is for no. No, my blast is not feminine. The question here is my blast masculine? And there's a lean towards yes, my blast is masculine, which is consistent, obviously. This is an example of doing the questions in reverse to see the consistency, and also to see not the double masculine, double feminine, but the masculine, feminine, in the middle. Often very convinced but not pushy, someone said. here's my consume. My consume I don't really do when other people are much there, unless they're watching a movie with me. This is, to do consume. I'm gonna be alone on the internet a lot, watching YouTube, and I don't like to do that when there's someone else in the room. I really, really don't. If someone walks in while I'm watching a video, I noticed from my childhood, especially like this would happen with my dad, and now with my husband. I turn things off. I pause them if somebody else has come into the room. I don't want to watch while there's somebody else there. But that may also be because I'm high. It could be a high sensory or high audio thing, because like I can't read if somebody else is making sound. I can't focus on one thing at a time. If I have multiple things going on at once, then everything has my attention, and I can't handle that. I can't stop that either. I can't. Yeah. So like, headphones is probably a solution to that. When Rebecca is in consume state, this is natural. There's a lean for that. When Rebecca's in consume state, it's apparently inconclusively masculine or feminine, so probably a bit of both, but that doesn't really work. Like, there was a lean for my blast to be more masculine over here and less feminine over here. And the masculine blast was seen by my mother, my husband, and I'm not sure who else, but it's a frequent thing in the individual results. Here's my sleep. Is my sleep natural? Yes, it definitely is. People see me resting. People see me conserving energy, and I'll do that all day long, apparently. Really. I think this might be a vote for this might be my coworker, who I'm literally at work. Like, you can't do sleep while you're at work. So she really just shouldn't have voted. But I might have. No, actually, I think I took that out. I think I took that out because she can't obviously see what it's like when I'm doing these stuff, because I've never seen her outside of work. This is my sleep feminine? People think yes. Is my sleep masculine? Is kind of a lean for inconclusive. Just generally inconclusive, really, really poorly inconclusive. When I'm in play state, people have no idea what I'm up to. Apparently it's natural for me to do showing off and moving and working, but a lot of the individual submissions say low play. And my play, obviously, because people don't see it happening much, they don't know whether they can say that it's particularly feminine or masculine, so maybe that's why. Otherwise, it does look initially like maybe a feminine masculine play, but not really very conclusive. Becca's self-aware, she's second, like this is an anecdotal high sleep thing. People think, so they vote for yes on the high sleep. This is a N over S, often making things up because she doesn't feel responsible for having things right. People think no. Or this is an anecdotal blast above consume, and people don't agree necessarily with the blast above consume. People think that I already have consumed what I'm talking about and that I know what I'm talking about rather than I'm making stuff up. Rebecca often seems drained and slow. Everyone apart from the person who sees me at work when I have to be in play mode is kind of leaning towards drained and slow. Struggles to deal with surprises and curveballs. So the thing is, I don't think that this is necessarily... I don't know. It seems kind of conclusive on the, so this is a question of low play, and low play seems to be true. Like the play seems to be my lowest according to these survey results. Talks too much, so high blast, like maybe first blast, and conclusive on that idea. Consumes too much. Nobody has any idea if I consume too much because they don't see me doing it. I do it when I'm alone. Probably burns herself. Like, my vote was actually yes. I probably, I don't even know. Like, how do you consume too much? I don't know. Rebecca probably burns herself out. Nobody thinks that I'm going to have the life cycle of discovering that I need to slow down. That's really not something that I don't naturally have already, and probably doesn't go out enough. People think, yeah, again with the low play. Well, no, not go out enough, but go do enough. Like, definitely my husband probably wrote it that way in there. But anyway, deep inner world, taking in new information and processing it. That's a consume sleep. People see consume sleep. They also see consume blast. So that's consume, obviously. Consume is on this side, and no, wait. Crap, no, that's sleep. The sleep is on this side, and the play is on this side. So I'm obviously sleep over play. Except that people don't even know what these, like, they can't really understand how these work. But it seems consume sleep or can sleep blast, actually. I'm a mope or a BSer. This is on my my decision making, my, oh man, I'm getting, this is too long. I'm sorry. This whole questionnaire was too long. Is there anything conclusive on me being FI? Not really. Is there anything conclusive on me being FE? Really kind of low FE. If anything, like particularly putting responsibility for other people's emotions on there. But I'm using emotions, I'm not using values. These questions are a bit, you know, like I've tried testing with the questions being values and emotions as well. But this is really high. Like, this is 8 out of 8 people, 7 people think that I'll explain my personal reasoning all day long. They really, really see that, and I don't. This is the most conclusive, undebunkable that I can see kind of thing in this, because how can 7 people be guessing about this and all get it so strong? This is like, it just doesn't seem like people are guessing. That, like, I'm really doing this and people see it. And then asking for the TE. Do I do the TE asking for other people's ping back about their reasons on things? And no, I put this on other people according to 5 people out of 7. Which is most true? Rebecca takes responsibility for explaining herself and her reasoning, or she takes responsibility for understanding other people's explanations. I'll do the TI rather than the TE, apparently. And then it's even more conclusive on the FI. So either way I'm going FI. No, not FI. Either way I'm going DI. Like, DI is over DE for sure, apparently, according to this. I mean, there's no other way I can really pretend it's not like that. So the FI is pretty high. Like, either that's a savior function or I can do it. And the TI is very high, either it's a savior function or I can do it. Of course, this is only 8 people versus 6 people, so it's not really enough to say that I can say this is my actual genetic personality type. That would be really stupid to think that, even though I thought that it's see again, this is 50-50 on whether I'm value or reasoning. Other people aren't able to see necessarily value over reason or reason over value. That's 50-50. So those ideas are conclusive, what I've just explained. This is my observer functions. Now I haven't done it. I've been really failing to understand the observer functions because, like, they can be so similar to each other within that coin, within that cross check. So I asked people to originally think about some things that what does Rebecca know? What does she want to master? A lot of people said personality, Bible, dreams. And then I've asked people to list things that are important to me. And it's funny because my mum, these are her things that she listed. She said books. Books isn't even a thing. It's just like, books, aren't they a tool of information for another abstract concept? um, that's the books that I own. I have a lot of non-fiction over fiction. At least later in my life. The fiction books are all from earlier in my life, and I don't touch them anymore. Now that I'm adult age, I do really enjoy fiction though, but I've only read one that stuck out in a long time. It was a year ago now. Anyway, so these are again, my husband is naming things that are personal to me, and they are tools. My car, my camera, my iPod, these are tools. They're not even things that I just like because I like them. These are all useful things. My Bible, that's an information source. My phone, that's a tool. Books, that's an information source. Clothes, yes, that's probably something that's the only thing that's really just an SF kind of thing to like because I like it. And apparently recipes. I don't understand why my mum thought that I personally like recipes, but apparently, like, that's really funny that out of the things that my mum would label as something that's personal to me, she calls it a recipe, and that's like an information source. That's a tool. I think cats. Cats is also just something that I like, which is right there. So within the spectrum of people, Rebecca's less sentimental over physical things. This is a question of am I SE? There's a lean towards SE. There's a high lean towards SE actually. But this is not necessarily SE. This is just am I sentimental or less, like can I objectively value physical items using the retail value, the color, the size. People saw that I can do that. I didn't. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to otherwise name the functions, how to describe the functions. And am I particularly sentimental over physical things? People really don't see that. The 3 is like a high true or false over here. True, false. People's just in the middle. They don't really, if they don't pick one or the other, then it's just that they don't see it. And on the spectrum of people, Rebecca's less sentimental over abstract things, concepts, and I'll view them by their practicality, likeliness, and usefulness. No, people don't see that. They think that I am really sentimental over my practicals, over my abstract ideas. That, of course, is coming out of the fact that just the last 2 years, personality has been my thing. But yeah, like I apparently am particularly sentiment. Like this is. I don't see how this could not be conclusive. People seeing me be sentimental over like this. This is like the SENI axis seems to be clear here. And I at this point can't think of anything that would make that ridiculous. Like, how do I say, no, that's not true? And obviously the answer to that is because I'm going off of are things valued subjectively and sentimentally, or are they valued objectively? This is not a matter really of how frequently I let new ideas come in or new sensory things come in. However, oh yeah, and people see too, like, if you oppose one of my theories, that's going to be more upsetting than if you broke something that belonged to me. And that's 7 people out of 8 people saying that, and it's true. Like, this question is true whether I'm NI or NE. It's important to me that people don't tell me my theories are wrong, because I don't actually know how to handle that. Maybe that's an issue with TE. I don't know. Rebecca's coming up with new possibilities all day and with a variety of assumptions and guesses. See, now it's inconclusive. It's inconsistent because it's kind of high on the NE. Rebecca's often revisiting the same idea and possibilities without respecting the spectrum of assumptions or guesses. People don't really see, like, this graph is totally balanced to the point of everything being cancelled out and there's no votes either way. So, like, but actually, that would mean people are seeing NE and they're not seeing NI. Which, again, it doesn't work with what we've already figured out of the NISE axes. Because often taking in new facts and data with a variety of recorded information, there's a lean towards yes. And revisiting the same facts without respecting a full spectrum and variety of recorded information, that's much less conclusive. So, like, they're not seeing that. Basically, they're seeing an OE. They're seeing NE and they're seeing SE. It's not very, like, that, maybe they are not able to identify the difference between a fact and an idea. That might be it. If I'm taking in facts and data, they think that I'm taking in new ideas, but if I say I'm taking in new ideas, they think, yes, she takes in facts and data. Who knows what they really interpreted that to be. But apparently, and again, this is entirely inconclusive. I was asking which is my OE, which is the thing that I'll gather more of, or I'll change it around, and people think I can change around my concepts and ideas more. But my own, oh no, never mind. This is just my mum's. These were older questions, and this is only with my mum. She thinks that I'll change around my ideas. I think, though, that I frequently change around my house. I frequently change around my wardrobe. My entire childhood, I would move the furniture in my room every few months or so. That would be a thing that I needed to do. I'm easily able to do that. I think that changing around my physical things is easier than gathering new, and I can gather new physical things. Like, the issue is that if I had a lot of money, I would be a hoarder. I would just go and buy shop all the time. But also probably not a hoarder, because I would take half of my stuff to the thrift store and buy new stuff. That's why I love shopping at thrift stores, because things are less expensive and you can get more of it. And you can try more things and see if you like them. Anyway, so that's entirely inconclusive, because there's only one person who answered those questions. But out of 8 people think that, so this is a question, these are the S over N question, S over N, or N over S. People think I'm closed off from reality. 6 people out of 8 would say I'm more closed off from reality. That's high N, as opposed, with disrespecting the sensory. But 2 people also think that I disrespect the N, including, I think, my husband. He chose closed off from possibilities. Rebecca's more often asking the what, the details, what's going on, and I've got 1 person out of 8 saying Rebecca asks the what. The why, is Rebecca asking the why? Yes, according to 7 people. I changed the definition just so that it wasn't how does that thing work, because obviously that's actually a T question, that's not an N question. But why does it happen? Why is that? Why? My mum immediately answered that as being the why. So that seems like N over S, but taking in the facts before she makes a guess is actually, that's kind of consistent, 3. And then making a guess before she takes in the facts, that's 5. But again, kind of balanced. And only 8 people have given me survey responses. Rebecca uses a lot of analogies. That's just a N anecdote. It's kind of, it leans towards yes. Afraid to get things wrong and okay with her guess being more afraid of getting her guess wrong, or will be fine with getting her guess wrong. People think that I'm high N really over the S. And then I just got some miscellaneous questions that probably I don't need to go into, but it's, yeah, like, it's the only thing, yeah, am I conscious of what the time is? People are leaning on no. And do I smash my way through things? People are kind of, well, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of two votes on the very, very no, and 4 votes on the maybe like that. So I would say this is actually a totally cancelled out graph. There's nothing there. These questions were about feminine or masculine sensory, which I already know that I can't keep track of the time. The time will go away without me even knowing that it happened. And then just they put in these questions for audible, only because I know I'm audible, but it's a matter of, does other people see that? I don't know. So let's move on to over here to the results from the individuals. This is my guess of what my type is. I'm some sort of consume sleep. Like this down here is more what I see myself as. Like I see myself as this one, actually. But I definitely can see, like this one or this one. I would definitely see myself as this one as well, the TISE, because I do a lot of consume, as far as I'm aware, as far as I can identify it and clock it. So I see myself as definitely like a selfish IP, the NT nerd trying to work out things that are in the abstract. I know that I'm doing that. Like, it's weird, I know, but I spend more time trying to work out things that are abstract concepts than anything else. I know I'm a consume sleep mope. You can see on my Facebook profile photo, I just look like I can't even be awake. It's so funny. I think that I'm low play. I think that I'm like I cannot, like, this guess is only coming out of after looking at the, well, no, I just know that I'm not NE. I know that I'm not NE. I don't think I'm SI. I'll be objective with the sensory and I'll be personal with the intuition. Like, I'll put all of my eggs in one basket and I won't come up with multiple assumptions. I'll just go with one idea of what is going on and how that fits in with everything, how everything is happening in the world. Infrared sensory with audio. Results from my husband. He's kind of, like, it's funny because he's on the same, like, his questionnaire answer was basically like he sees a D, the single decider and double observer. He thinks DI and then OE, then OI. He sees the NT, NF node. He sees info dominant. He sees a masculine blast, a low and a feminine consume with low play. Kind of sleep blast, he said. Obviously, I do the consuming when he's at work. And kind of reasons over values and self over tribe. Like Levi sees self over tribe all the time. He sees the SENI axes, and he sees also feminine. So like, yeah, this is funny though, because my sister and my dad, they stick in these very different options. They've continued with the INTJ and the ENTJ are there, which is interesting. Like I always get INTJ when I do the 16 personalities test. But I could be, and the INTJ's over there. What's this one? This is a INS. Oh, that's an INFJ. No, it's not. It's an INFP. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But my father and sister, they think they see the TEFI axes, and they see low consume. They see sleep blast. They see salesman. They've really. I don't know. They were one of the first ones to answer the survey, and maybe since I changed the words, other people started seeing the same thing. But my husband did actually answer it first. But these are the things that my sister and my dad saw when they did the survey together. So they're an outlier compared to everything else. My workmate's results, she saw a DI with reason over value and consume sleep with low blast. Because, like, yeah, she sees when I'm trying to instruct, and she says that it's awkward. And she said N over S. She said will make a guess and isn't not a problem if my guesses are wrong. From my mum's results, these are identical to my husband's and to what I thought I was. So my mum definitely sees the NT nerd. She sees the NISE axes. She sees N over S. So that would actually be some sort of TINI. But she thinks as well that I'm variety over organize. So she also thinks that I probably could be one of these two, or what is it? Yeah, she wasn't very. I don't know. She wasn't very sure on the FI or TI, as far as I'm aware. What else is there? Not a lot. So you'll see. I'll try and do this quickly. My mum's results, my husband's results. Down the bottom, my mum. On top, my husband. Same types right there, and myself, same types. So my own self, my husband, and my mum see the same thing, whereas my sister and father don't really know what's going on at all, apparently. But maybe they do. Maybe they see what no one else is really seeing, and that is, this is my dad after all. But there's more on the EJ, more on the IJ, nothing on the EP though. Which again makes me not really sure, because I had the answers on people saying that I'm caring, which still doesn't make sense to me because I'm, yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's the results so far for my survey, and it's definitely time to finish this video. So yeah, interesting, and we'll be done with it. Thank you.